Hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing one of the big boys in the Linux world. That is Fedora. Fedora 27 was just released today. I'm going to be reviewing Fedora 27, the workstation version of Fedora 27. It comes in 3 different versions. You have Fedora Workstation, Fedora Server, and Fedora Atomic, which is for Docker, Kubernetes application stacks, for those of you that are doing containerized stuff. About Fedora Workstation. Fedora Workstation is a reliable, user-friendly, and powerful operating system for your laptop or desktop computer. It supports a wide range of developers, from hobbyists and students to professionals in corporate environments. Okay, today I'm going to be installing Fedora 27, the workstation version of Fedora 27, inside VirtualBox. So VirtualBox wants to capture my keyboard and mouse. I have the option in the menu of starting Fedora Workstation Live 27 or test this media and start Fedora Workstation Live 27. I'm just going to choose the first option in the menu, which I'm assuming is just going to boot us directly into a live environment. The default desktop environment for Fedora is the Gnome desktop environment. In this particular version of Fedora 27, they're using Gnome 3.26, I believe. Okay, and we're now inside the live environment. Looks really nice actually for a live desktop environment from an ISO. It's a little sluggish. I mean, it's running off an ISO. We haven't installed anything. I'm not going to play around in the live environment. I never like taking time to do that, since I want to test out the operating system after I install it. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Install to Hard Drive. Alright, and the installer has launched. A really big installer as far as taking up the entire screen here. English has been selected for language, English United States, so I'm going to just choose Continue here. Localization, keyboard, English US has been selected. I'm going to leave that alone. America, Chicago has been selected. That is the correct time zone. I'm in the central time zone here in the US, so good job on Fedora picking that up. Installation destination. Now we need to tell Fedora where to install to the disk. I created a 15 gig hard drive in this virtual machine. So I'm just going to let Fedora have the entire 15 gig hard drive. So for storage configuration, I'm just going to let it do automatic. I'm not going to tick on encrypt my data. I don't need to encrypt the drive or anything. So I'm going to add a disk. Now I don't really need to do this, so I need to click Done here at the top of the screen. Alright, network and host name. I'm on a wired connection, so I really don't need to do anything here. If I was doing wireless here, then I would need to configure this maybe. Alright, user settings. I need to set up a root password. So let me give Fedora root password. It's warning me my root password is weak, but that's okay. It's a virtual machine. This isn't, some server. Okay, I thought I clicked Done. There it goes. User creation. We need to create a user. I'm just going to go with Fedora for username. I'm going to choose another very weak password for my user. Click Done at the top left again. Alright, and I think that is about all I really needed to do here. It looks like it is installing software. So I'm going to let this run for a few minutes, and I'll be back after the installation completes. Okay guys, the installation has completed. It wasn't a long install process, but it wasn't the quickest. It might have ran maybe 15 minutes. It wasn't too bad. Anyway, once the installation is complete, we need to go ahead and reboot it to start using it. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll be back in a second. Alright, and we're rebooting our freshly installed Fedora 27 Fedora Workstation. And let's check out the boot up time here. See how long it takes us to boot into the desktop. Okay, we got to the Gnome login manager here pretty quick. My username is Fedora. Remember, I chose Fedora as a username here. So type in my password. And that should have loaded up the Gnome 3 desktop environment. It hung up there for a second, but it did load us into the Gnome 3 desktop environment. And we have a little welcome greeter. So it looks like the name of this program, according to the taskbar at the top, is Gnome Initial Setup. So it has English chosen as our language. I'm going to click Next. English US for the keyboard. Privacy, I'm not going to do any privacy settings. I'm just going to leave it to the defaults for now. Connecting online accounts such as Google, Nextcloud, Microsoft, Facebook. I'm not going to do any of that on this video. And start using Fedora. You're ready to go. So away we go. Alright, then we get a new screen coming up. This is Gnome Help. It says Getting Started. And we have some links to how to do some common tasks such as browse the web, connect online accounts, get online, change the date, time, time zone, use system search, launch applications, changing the wallpaper, how to use windows and workspaces, I guess in the Gnome desktop environment, and switching tasks. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and go through all of the programs installed by default on Fedora 27. So I'm going to click on the Activities button here at the top. I'm going to click on Show Applications. And it looks like by default we have installed the Gnome Boxes, which is a virtualization program that is part of the Gnome suite of apps. We have our calculator, we have our calendar, we have Cheese, which is a webcam program. We have clocks, we have our contacts, we have documents, we have the Evolution email client, we have files, which we launched the file manager. This is the Nautilus file manager, which now Gnome simply calls files, but it's still the Nautilus file manager. Back to applications here. We have Firefox as our default browser. We have LibreOffice Calc, which is the spreadsheet program in LibreOffice, and LibreOffice Draw. LibreOffice Impress, which is their presentation program. LibreOffice Writer, which is their word processor. We have Maps, which is the Gnome Maps utility, I believe. And we have to grant it access for, I guess, getting our location and such. There wasn't much to see in Maps. It wanted to hang up on me there. But again, this is inside a virtual machine. We're not running this on, physical hardware here. So Rhythmbox is our media player. Rhythmbox is one of the Gnome apps, and it is a fantastic music player. Really like Rhythmbox if I'm going to use a big robust music program. Rhythmbox is excellent. We have our settings. We have our Shotwell photo manager. We have Simple Scan, which is a scanning utility. We have software, which is the Gnome software. It's basically their software center here in Gnome. So, alright, looks like we have a little menu group of Sundry, which is problem reporting and SE Linux troubleshooting. Okay, we have our text editor. I accidentally launched Rhythmbox again, I think, yeah. The text editor, though, is the gedit text editor, the standard text editor in the Gnome desktop environment. And we also have our video player, which is the Totem video player that now Gnome just simply calls videos. And we have the Gnome weather app. So Not a whole lot of programs installed by default on Fedora. The one thing I will also mention is the Gnome desktop environment. This Gnome 3 desktop environment is pretty vanilla Gnome. There's no extensions, no fanciness really added to it, and it's very, again, very plain, very vanilla Gnome. So a lot of you guys are going to add some extensions, like the dash to dock, and play around with some of the notification extensions and such to get the Gnome desktop to operate the way you probably expect it to. Okay, so I'm going to go back and open up the Gnome Software Center here, and just look around in this a bit, because I think a lot of newer Linux users will probably end up doing a lot inside the Software Center. And inside the Software Center you have these convenient categories to look through: audio and video, games, communication and news, graphics and photography, productivity, and add-ons. It looks like, we also have developer tools, education and science, and utilities. So for example, if I wanted to search for, say, some audio players or some video players, I could click on audio and video, and it shows us some of the most popular stuff by default that you may be looking for, such as Ardour, Audacity, Banshee, and that's pretty cool. This is just the featured applications. This is the ones that the GNOME Software Center deems the most popular apps, I guess, of this category. But you can click all here and it will list all of the available audio and video apps for you to install. If I wanted to narrow down my search to just music players, I could click music players here, and we have the choice of probably about 20 different music players that we could install from the GNOME Software Center here. I'm going to click on the clock here at the top center of the screen, and you will see we have some software updates available. Now, this was released today, so there shouldn't be a ton of updates to run, but I'm going to it looks like we have 21 updates that we could install. I'm not going to run that on this video. I just wanted to show you that for you guys that are installing, there may be some updates already needing to be installed. Looks like there's 21 as of today, and again, it was released several hours ago today. So let's check out the system settings. I'm going to go here to the little power button in the top right hand corner. I'm going to go to the settings button here, and it should open up our system settings. And we have options for Wi-Fi. I'm on a wired connection for this here, so no Wi-Fi adapter found. We have options for Bluetooth. Again, nothing on this machine here. We have options to change the background. It looks like we have options to change both the background and the lock screen, so that's cool. Let me see what kind of wallpapers are installed by default in Fedora 27. So I'm going to click on background, and it looks like we have about 15 or so pretty good looking wallpapers actually. These are actually pretty nice. Let me try this black and white photo here, see what this looks like. Yeah, that's actually pretty nice, but you know what, for this video I think you guys are going to want some color, so let's go with something, you know what, how about this little wintry picture? After all, it is, the middle of November. We also have settings here in the system settings menu here for notifications, search, region and language, universal access, online accounts, privacy, sharing, sound, power and network, and devices. And we also have details down here. Let me see what that is. Probably system details. Yes, it is. It's basically giving the specs of the machine. Well, in this case, it's a virtual machine. I gave this virtual machine 6 gigs of memory to run on and a 14.2 gigabyte hard drive. So, and one thing I will say, it's a really nice wallpapers by default. And the default vanilla GNOME shell doesn't look too bad. The theming though, the window theming, this is one of the default GNOME themes. I think it's the Adwaita theme. Also the icons are the standard GNOME set of icons. I know Fedora likes to put these vanilla GNOME desktops out, but really they should they should improve the theming of the windows and the icons, in my opinion. I mean, it's one of the first things a brand new user is going to look at, and I don't think this is the best presentation, really. The last thing I'm going to check out will be the system monitor here, the Gnome system monitor, just to check out the memory usage, CPU usage for Gnome shell. I'm giving this virtual machine 2 CPUs to run on, and looks like it is taking 100% of one of them and about 40% of the other. So kind of high CPU usage inside this virtual machine, but again, I'm only giving it 2 cores of my 6 core CPU to run on. Memory usage is a little higher than I would like to see too. It's using 1.8 gigs of 5.9 gigs of memory that I gave this virtual machine. So not the lightest desktop environment, the Gnome 3 desktop, but you know, it's not that bad. Most modern computers have more than enough CPU power and memory to run Gnome 3 lightning fast. I mean, it should really show no signs of lagginess or bogging down. Overall, what are my impressions of Fedora 27? Well, if I'm being honest, I've never been a fan of Fedora. I've tried it a few times, but it's not a distribution that I've ever lived in for long periods of time. I don't really check it out very often. You know, when there's a new release of Fedora, I'm not just dying to go try it out. As a matter of fact, this is the first release of Fedora I've tried, first new release I've tried in probably a couple of years. So it's not, you know, like I'm a Fedora fanboy or anything like that. I don't hate Fedora. It's just, you know, it's never been my thing. The installer was not bad. Pretty easy install. Took a little longer than your standard like Ubuntu installs and Linux Mint, Elementary, those kind of installers. Usually 10 minutes or less in these virtual machines. It took me a good 15 to 20 minutes maybe to run through the Fedora installer. It wasn't bad. It wasn't too bad. I'm not a big fan of the default Gnome 3 desktop experience. That's another reason why I'm not a big fan of Fedora, is because they use the vanilla Gnome 3 desktop environment. I'm not a Gnome 3 fan, but leaving out my, you know, personal biases toward Gnome 3, Fedora 27 looks like it's a fantastic release. Great install, really sharp looking desktop, if I'm being honest. Again, I don't really dig the default window themes, and definitely I hate the default Gnome icon set. They really should install a different icon set. But all in all, I give Fedora 27 Workstation an A. Peace, guys.